is your Classic Metal Show right here on theclassicmetalshow.com. That, of course, brand new stuff from the band Unearth. The name of the album is Extinction. The name of the song was Dust. And on the line right now is the vocalist of the band Unearth. It is Trevor Phipps. Trevor, how are you, man?
Doing well, man. We just arrived in St. Louis.
Excellent.
I'm glad you're playing the song Dust, man. That wasn't released as a single, but it's a song we're playing live, so I'm glad you're playing it.
Excellent,
That's a track I dig off the record quite
nice.
a bit.
Well, dude, I'm going to take you real quickly down memory lane. I used to do a show called The Metal Show on 92.3 here in Cleveland, and we used to do a segment called Extreme Sessions where we would bring in bands that we were digging at the time. And I had interviewed you on, 2003, 2004, whatever it was, for one of what album is that? Oncoming Storm.
In 04.
And 04. And I had asked you at the end of the interview, I was like, hey, would you like to do this? Come and meet a couple fans and just play a couple tunes, and then we'll play it back on our show. And you were like, yeah, man, we'll do it, but I'm going to be a diva here, man. I have to have a rider. And I was like, okay. And you were like, yeah, we have to have a bottle of Jack Daniels or we're not going to come.
I must have been drunk when I said that, man. That's not my personality at all. But that is part of our rider. Every night we do get a bottle of Jim Beam. So that's just standard for gigs,
right?
So yeah.
Well, yeah, and it was all in good fun, man. I mean, it was just playing around, but it's just one of those things that I remember from way back then, and here we are. Jesus, dude, it's been 20 years, and you're still out doing it, man. That's awesome.
Still going for it, man. Yeah, I mean, we've been going at it for a long time. Yeah, you know what? Back then when I was doing interviews, I would have to have a couple of drinks beforehand just to kill the anxiety.
Right.
Past 15 years, I've kind of gotten over that quite a bit, but yeah, I was a younger guy back then. I was like, I need some whiskey. But, yeah, man, all good.
Very cool, dude. Well, dude, I mentioned that the band is now in its 20th year, if you go all the way back to, when you guys started demoing, I guess. Talk about that for a little bit, because, I mean, you guys are one of the survivors. You guys never hit the, and I'm not comparing the band, but you never got to the Kill Switch Slipknot-ish area, of success, but yet you've outlasted everybody with the exception of a rare few, man. You guys are like one of the last bands standing.
Yeah, man, we had a good that was a good era for bands coming up, and we totally understand why bands will take breaks. When bands say they break up, unless it's a harsh breakup, I don't really think bands are truly broken up.
Sure.
I think bands just kind of go on a break. But we've maintained it. We've gone out here. We have been able to peel back our touring enough where it keeps our family lives at home steady, and also maintain our profile as a touring band, putting out new records. So we've kind of found a balance that maybe some bands didn't want to go for, and that's totally understandable. But to this point in our lives, we've been lifers at this, and it's what we all collectively want to do for our careers, and just keep on going until we're not able to anymore, or people just completely stop showing up. So
sure.
we're here putting out the music and still going for it. And this new record, we took the time to write a record that we're all extremely proud of, and we think is going to do some stuff for us. It's already getting a lot of good looks, and the fans are reacting to it really well. So
sure.
Hopefully it's going to push us even further, and we'll just keep going.
Absolutely, man. Well, dude, listening to Extinctions, it's obvious to me who's a fan of the band, and it should be obvious to anybody that is even just a casual fan, that it's probably your most potent release to date. I mean, it is really in your face, and from note one to the end, it's just ferocious, man. When you were writing, the material, you and the band were writing it, what was going on that you guys just were amped that much more than the rest, I guess?
I think there's a few factors. One, which I've stated in other talks I've had, is that I just think the modern state of metal is really healthy. It's really strong.
Sure.
So we all kind of became fans again, instead of relying on us being fans of the stuff we all came up with and kind of recycling ideas in our head and trying to make new, fresh ideas from that, there's a lot of new angles on metal and hardcore these days. And so we just started listening to newer music and became fans again. And that was inspiring. It was refreshing for us. And then that just kicked in. It felt like we were 20 years old again in the jam room, writing songs. We were just psyched on music in general. Secondly, I mean, there's a lot of competition. We've been out here for a long time. Some people might forget about the band. We saw certain opportunities go to other bands, and instead of us over the years. Mm-hmm. So there's an element of fighting for our lives. This is what we want to do. We love what we do. So whereas, of course, every record we put everything we have into it. Sure. Sometimes when there's extra motivation behind it, it kind of kicks you into a different gear that you didn't know you had. And so, and thirdly, it was 4 years since the last record. So sure. There's extra time to put together a lot of material instead of kind of being pushed in that whole label industry thing where they try to make you do a record in 2 years. Mm-hmm. We took our time. In 4 years, we were the most prolific we've ever been before a record. We wrote 24 songs. We cut it down to 14 to record in the studio, and then picked the most the most banging 10 songs. Sure. Those 14 recorded to put out this record. Those 4 that are recorded won't be on any kind of special release, but we'll probably retool them to be on something in the future. They didn't really fit the mold of this record, the vibe of it. Good songs, and they'll probably end up on something else in the future.
Sure. Is it hard to let those go? Because I know how you band guys are. Every song is your baby.
Yeah, it did cause some heated discussions. Sure. But at this point, we're kind of used to certain things going, and it wasn't that big of a fight. In the past, it might have been a bigger fight, but everyone kind of saw the big picture, whereas those songs are good. And we actually talked about plans for them, maybe soundtracks, maybe like a 7-inch or something different, and because these 10 songs clearly all fit together, even though they're all different lyrically, they all have a very common theme with death or loss, and so those other songs have different topics. So it just kind of made sense that these 10 songs were the ones for Extinctions, and those other 4 would be on something else.
Sure. Now. I was reading, and I'm unclear on this, so I'll just ask you to clarify it. Your press versus your Wikipedia say 2 different things about the drumming on this record. One says that Adam from Killswitch played drums on it. Another says that he helped in production. So can you clear up who the drummer is on the record?
Gladly clarify. So I think what happened there was the first press release sent out, and the wording was a little confusing, and it got picked up by people online. Adam was the producer on the drums. Nick Pierce is our drummer. He recorded the drums. But because Will Putney was the producer of the record and recorded everybody else, I think that's where it kind of got lost in translation. Adam is West Coast. Nick Pierce is West Coast. It made sense, for them to work together out there. Plus, we have history with Adam working with a drummer like Nick. Nick is more of he's more of a progressive tech drummer. Okay. And we have elements of that in our music, but we're far from a progressive tech band. Sure. On The Oncoming Storm, our drummer was Mike Justin. He was in the band The Red Chord, who was more of a grind, tech band. And so Adam did a great job on that record, kind of allowing Mike to shine, do his thing on certain parts, and peeling them back on the others to make them find more of the groove and play with the song. But because we wanted to feel dangerous where it has to feel dangerous, and feel like a song where it has to feel like a song. Right. And so we already had past success with Adam doing that with our old drummer, Mike. So we wanted Adam to do that with Nick on this record, and he totally nailed it. Very cool.
Now, Trevor, listening to the record, it really feels very cohesive, specifically lyrically, which I'm assuming is you. Did you write this all very fast, or was it written over time, but you just kind of had an underlying theme in your head that you wanted to express this time?
The way I write lyrics, I write the way I see the world, what's going on around me in that period of time of my life, personal experiences. Sometimes I bring in historical events on certain records, but this record, it was more of what's going on today, because things are so heated right now. around the world. So over the past 3-4 years, and what I do on tour between album cycles is I'll jot down ideas of what's going on, and what I'll have for an idea for a song. And then when I get the songs, when they're finished, then I put them together, and I get a mood of what that song is telling me to write about, and I'll go through all my lyrics, and then I'll pick one, then I'll go for it. So it's about 3 months of me writing the lyrics.
Okay.
But, about 4 years of writing the ideas.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Now I know for you're, and I'm not saying this is definitely integrated to the music, but I'd imagine some of the ideas come from it. You personally are a politically active or politically vocal person, I guess is a better way to put it. And I don't want to get into all that unless you want to, but for you, is it difficult to keep things abstract enough to not piss off half the fan base that leans either A or B or what, because you know how it is out there in today's world is, God forbid you say something that the other side doesn't like and all of a sudden you're an asshole, Yeah,
now that was the point of these lyrics. I wasn't trying to divide anyone. I was trying to actually bring people more together.
Sure.
And openly talk about it in interviews, whereas there are certain things that are important to me that, that I want to get out there, and I want to bring people more together, and for people to find more common ground and not get divided by, maybe their news, that they ingest, that is, they're just basically talking heads telling them to think one way or the other. Whereas news, when I was growing up, it was just basically just a boring monotone voice of a Tom Brokaw or,
right.
Guys like that just telling you the events of the day, and they weren't telling you how to think or how to feel. When you're told how to think and how to feel about something, that just ramps you up about it, and then
right.
causes you to get even more excited about other things. And then that just further divides people more and more. And so, this is just kind of a plea for unity and for people to pay attention to facts more. And if you see something online, whether it be a meme or some weird website that isn't a legitimate news source,
right,
before you believe what you read, just go do some research on it and don't get hyped up, because you're just going to further get more down in the rabbit hole of a false reality, and that's what's really driving us all apart.
No doubt, man. Is it frustrating for you? And I'll tell you straight up, it's frustrating for me when I see somebody come with a point that just came off of some dumbass site, and I mean, back in the old days, we really didn't talk about politics a whole lot. We did with our close friends, maybe, but for the most part, we didn't. But now it's such a central part of everything. I know for me, it's very frustrating when somebody, a fan of the show or whatever, calls in with a point that I know they just heard on TV and they didn't do any research themselves. And I know you, as somebody that is involved, that's got to drive you nuts, no?
It did at first.
Okay.
So for a couple of years, I tried to vent my voice on Twitter, and
right.
I tried to engage people on Facebook, and I realized that was just a waste of time, because people, they're just gonna fire right back with some stupid meme or whatever they're doing,
right?
And they're not gonna believe anything you say anyway. And so for me, the best way I felt the best way to get my voice out there was, to get as educated on the topics I want to talk about on the record, and then sing about them. There's a certain element of this passion in music, and if people can hear that passion,
sure,
and read it and get into what I'm saying, then they might open a different door for them. They might start to think a certain way, like, okay, maybe there is something to this. And it's less division. It's more like trying to come together and try to see eye to eye, instead of just, again, posting some stupid meme on Facebook.
Sure, no, I agree. Is it and not politically motivated, but just the state of music today? While I know you said that you feel, and I agree with you, that the state of music is probably as strong as it's been. You just have to go look for it a little harder. I don't think that the same could be said about live music anymore. That, a lot of the clubs are closing. There's just not as much live demand for it. Seems like all the club owners, all they want is, cover bands, to where it's killing a lot of local scenes. For you guys, I mean, you guys are a perennial touring band. Is it harder today than it's been in the past to get gigs and get quality gigs and get people out to the gigs?
I think what it is you really have to build a solid package, a touring package. That's what people are used to doing now. It is tougher to get people out midweek, but the weekends are always, usually pretty banging. As long as you have the right package, so that's what people are looking to do. There are, a lot of solid bands out there, a lot of really good young bands that are creating, just great music. So clubs do come and go, but music will always, continue. And
right.
So, I think everything will survive just fine.
Sure. Do you feel, are you one of those that feels the internet has been good or bad? Because, there's those that think it's great because you can spread your music out to a ton of people. But then, and I have to imagine, in you guys' case for finding new fans, it's probably more difficult than ever because there's so many bands that are on the internet that, you won't even get the 30-second listen anymore from a lot of people, a lot of younger people that are not trained to actually give something, 3 whole minutes of listening.
I've come around on this a bit, mainly because streaming services, they actually do give out a pay. And you don't have to pay to have these, to have a Spotify or Pandora. There are free versions or iTunes Music.
Sure.
Apple Music, I should say. I do pay for one of the services just because I enjoy getting to pick the song, the record I want to listen to at that moment. But these services do pay artists and the labels, whereas before when people were just stealing records, that just kind of almost collapsed the entire industry.
Right.
But now this new platform is starting to figure itself out. It's starting to work for labels and for bands. And the main benefit I see that helps bands is that it can prolong a band's career if they do their own legwork, if they do the interviews, they do the live shows, they do the posts on their own social media, and they stay engaged with their fans. Whereas before, when it was only records you were selling, you were kind of dependent on you either becoming a massive band,
sure,
or the record label investing in you. If they just dropped the ball on you and they didn't want to invest in the band anymore because they hadn't seen upside because trends were changing, then your career was gone. And that's why you saw 20, 30, 40 years ago bands last 2 to 5 years tops.
Yeah.
Because trends would change, labels would just give up on them. We've lived through all that, and now we're in a new age where it's really, we get the help from the label, but then it's up to us to stay relevant and out there.
No doubt, man.
So I think to boil it down, I think it's a good thing.
Oh, very cool, man. Well, Trevor, the new album, as we said earlier, it's called Extinctions. It really does kick ass, and I'm not just telling you that because you're on the phone. I really am a fan of it. It's
appreciate that.
One of the very, I will argue it's the strongest album that you guys have done, period, of the 7. It is without question the heaviest, and it's certainly from first listen, you get that punch in the face that as a metalhead you kind of want. So it's great stuff. I think people should check it out. And if they want to check it out or find out where you guys are going to be playing or, all that good stuff, where do they go online to keep up with you guys?
All of our social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's Unearth Official.
Okay.
Is our tag for all that. So you just go on there. Our band's in town. I think band's in town. I think it's just Unearth, which has the tour dates.
Right.
So yeah, just do a quick search online. You'll find us. You'll find out what we're up to. Central Media is our label. They'll have all the information as well. So it's all out there. YouTube has all our videos and everything. So that's a good thing about the internet too. Is it's so easy to find a band and what they're up to and what their new music.
Sure, no doubt, dude. Well, dude, as a tradition on the show, we always let the artist pick a closing track from the new record. Maybe tell us a story about it. So, what would you like us to wrap up with?
Let's do One with the Sun. That's our new video. That's a song that we all felt really strongly about, that we wanted to be the first video. That's an important song lyrically, musically. It's a banger, and the blonde girl in the video is actually my daughter.
Nice.
And she sings in the song too. Let's hear One with the Sun.
All right, well, let's do it right now. This is One with the Sun. It is Unearth right here on your Classic Metal Show.